Rondell said, "You got the money?" I was like, "I'm gonna take the bus." Rondell said, "You got the money?" I was like, "No." He said, "How much is it?" I was like, $227. He went to the ATM, gave me his last.
Damn.
$227. So I used that for my bus ticket. Another fraternity brother who was like a mentor to me, he gave me $400 for my first month of an apartment, which
where about in LA?
So
he gave you box rental.
Because this wasn't 1968. This was
where he lived was across where you discover every fraternity brother is not a friend. For one, where he lived was across the street from USC. And I discovered later on.
It's gangland.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I had no clue. I'm out 2 a.m, like just jogging, happy. Yeah. Because I'm coming from small Hicktown, Alabama. Now I'm in LA. I'm like, bro, I made it. I'm in Hollywood. I remember getting off the bus, the Greyhound, and getting on like the LA Metro with a big orange Parkview duffel bag and a bag of like trash bag over my shoulder, walking on USC campus. Like I'm just happy, bro.
Looking like one of the Clampets.
No, I'm looking so country bumpkin, and I know they had to be looking at me like, who the fuck
with y'all, boy? God damn. They be like
that room for like 2 days. I went to UCLA and met some Qs out there. I'm hopping, enjoying myself, having a good time. I lose my wallet, so I have no ID, no social, because I just had my social security card in my wallet. My girlfriend, my wife now, told me, "Hey man, you need to take that out." I'm like, "All right, yeah, I'll take it out when I get home." All my cards, cash. I lost my wallet. I get to the room where I'm staying. I see my shit outside. I'm like, "What happened?" And my man came up with some story, but really, he took my money, paid his rent, and now I'm assed out. So that one fraternity brother that screwed me over. 2 of them helped me get here. I called another one who was a fellow actor type. His uncle lived in LA. I was like, "Yo, you think your uncle would just let me stay there for the night?" So he made that call, Uncle Cody, and Uncle Cody let me stay there for months, and was like, "Man, I don't need nothing from you, young man. You do what you got."
Hey, all right, Shalom. I want to give all praise and honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim, and Kakwadash. Say double honor to the apostles and the bishop elders of Great Millstone for teaching us his word and truth and sincerity, for ruling well. And salutations to our fellow Akim, the 144,000, the elect men, and also the men, women, and children that also believe in Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shai. Hey, I'm a brother Gabar Yahweh from GMS Hawaii, coming to you with another quick lesson. And, I was listening to this man's story. This guy, he's a part of a fraternity, so-called Greek fraternity. I think it's Omega Psi Phi. And, he talked about his experiences with his so-called brothers. That's a particular fraternity that prides themselves on members versus men, excluding Slovakia. Yeah, that's an organization that prides itself on the quality of man versus the quantity. But in reality, man, all of those fraternities in the world is pseudo brotherhood. Okay, it's not true brotherhood. They might be linked up or joined together in mirth, but in adversity, they're not taught as an organization to follow that pattern. They don't have an example, but we have an example in Yahweh Shai, right? There's a precept where it says, "Ye shall know my disciples by the love they have for one another." But even in that love, we got to use discernment. Because as the scripture says right here, this is the book of Jeremiah 9:4. "Take ye heed every one of his neighbor, and trust ye not in any brother. For every brother will utterly supplant, and every neighbor will walk with slanders, and able to deceive every one his neighbor, and will not speak the truth. They have taught their tongues to speak lies, and weary themselves to commit iniquity." And that happens amongst these so-called brothers, man. Of all things, especially in the world, because in the world they don't have a standard. We have a standard in the truth, But even amongst us, you got to watch out for certain men who crept in underwears, certain men who have ulterior motives, certain men who want to abuse the brotherhood, certain men who don't want to grind it out. I remember years ago, I was at the main camp visiting, and Apostle Tahar was speaking about, trusting a brother. And I remember him saying, like, you really can't trust a brother if you ain't known him for like over 20 years. And he was even, I think the Apostle Gabar was standing there. It might have been Apostle Ramlab too. I'm not sure. It's so long ago. But I do remember him saying, like, yeah, man, I know these men right here for such and such amount of time. And, we just started getting super close like that. But even still, there's boundaries. Just because we brothers doesn't mean we abuse one another. Just because we brothers doesn't mean that we mistreat one another. And even still, we try not to join too much space around each other. Like even Apostle, I learned this from Apostle Tahar. He's saying that he told us that, he don't spend a lot of time with brothers like that. And I learned this from Apostle Gubar, that familiarity breeds contempt. So you can't let brothers be too familiar around you, because they'll lose respect for you. They'll lose that reverence towards you as a leader. So you have to, we spend a lot of time by ourselves, but we know how to be brothers, And one thing what made me think about this on this video was what he was saying, like those people in the world in that pseudo brotherhood versus spiritual brotherhood, they don't have a spiritual standard, but we do. And Yahweh Shai says this. I'll read it. I had quoted it. This is the book of St. John, chapter 13, verse 35. It says, matter of fact, I'll start at 34. I'll start at 33. Little children, yet a little while I am with you. Yet ye shall seek me, and as I said unto the Jews, whither I go, ye cannot come. So now I say to you, a new commandment I give unto you, that ye love one another, as I have loved you, and that ye also love one another. By this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, if ye love one to another. And if you love your brother, you won't steal from your brother. And that's practicing the commandments one towards another. Because the scriptures speak about telling us not to steal. If a brother finds something, a true brother, like I said, you got guys that's not real brothers amongst us. And so that's where that discernment comes in at. But a true brother is not going to steal from another brother. A true brother, if he finds something that a brother lost, he will return it, as the scripture says. And if the brother's not around, he'll hold it until that brother comes, so that he could give him back what he lost or what he found, But like this dude, he's part of that Omega Psi Phi, and he said one of his own brothers stole from him, man. But that's because he didn't know that man. He didn't vet that man. He didn't use discernment when he met this man. He was just moving from one place to the next, and he needed a place to stay. And so the guy saw an opportunity to make money out of this man versus make a closer brother, establish a relationship with this man. And you see, like he said, he was filled with his own folly. He's out here jumping up and down with his so-called some Qs that he met at a college that he didn't even go to, And they don't have the standard. Their leaders, their leaders from the top to the bottom didn't set a true standard of brotherhood and a true standard of what's right and what's wrong. Unlike amongst us, from the apostles to the bishop, elders to the brothers on down, they set a paramount example they continue to set a paramount example of what a brother is supposed to be. And that comes from Yahweh Shai, because Yahweh Shai loved us. And the scriptures speak about us dealing with one another. We're supposed to deal with each other like you deal with Yahweh Shai. If Yahweh Shai was standing here in front of us right now, none of us would do him wrong. None of us will treat him spitefully. How much more us? That's why the scripture says this. If you have done this this is St. Matthew chapter 25, verse 37. Then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Lord, when saw thee hunger and fed thee, or thirst and gave thee drink? When saw we thee a stranger and took thee in, or naked and clothed thee? Or when saw we thee sick or in prison and came to visit thee? And the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily I say unto you, in as much as ye have done it unto one of the least of these brethren, ye have done it unto me. You know what I'm saying? So when you, again,
You're chasing a dream.
when we deal with one another, it's like we dealing with Yahweh Shai, right? So that's why I'm doing this lesson, because it just makes you see that us in this faith, in this thing of ours, as Apostle Bar calls it, and I concur, in this thing of ours, we're true brothers. But not every brother is a true brother. So you gotta have a discernment. You know, and this guy, when, you know, he was dealing with his so-called fraternity brothers, he lacked discernment amongst those men. But he was a humble dude, because he said when he went to the other brother house, the older man's house, I guess his Uncle Cody house, when he went there, you know, he was real humble. You know, he stayed out the way. He didn't, you know, get in that brother's personal life. He just did what he had to do until he was able to get on his feet. You know, and that it showed that other brother that he dealt with was more sincere versus the one guy that he didn't know. You know, but Jake and the world got to go through these pitfalls amongst men in order to learn a way. And we do too. We go through it too. You have men that you bring into the congregation. We don't bring nobody into the congregation, but you have men that come into the congregation, you know, and in the beginning it's cool. You see the fellowship, you eating chicken, dipping your hand in a ranch. But then you see that, hey, this brother's not working hard towards his spiritual growth. This brother is not as active. You know, he barely wants to come. Or he might be causing division amongst brothers. So brothers got to get called out. So that's why the scripture says open rebuke is better than secret love. You know what I'm saying? You can't just accept a man the way he is. Scripture speak about be not hastily accredit any man, you know, or lay hands on any man. Because men will supplant you. Men will come in and they will supplant you and take you for a ride, man. You know, but a true brother will show you love like he would show Yahweh Shai. And that's why Yahweh Shai said, if you have done this for the least of these brethren here, Matthew 25 and 30, Matthew 25 and, and 40. And the king shall answer and say unto them, verily I say unto you, that in much as ye have done it unto one of the least of these brethren, ye have done it unto me. So when we treat one another, when we show charity towards one another, we show mercy towards one another, we look out for one another sincerely, it's like we doing it for Yahweh Shai too. And the scripture says charity cover a multitude of sins, man. You know? And so when we ought to remember when we amongst the brothers, and the scripture says what it says, to forsake not the assembly. Right? Let me see if I can find that. Right. This is the book of, wow, it's a lot. Slakia. This is this is the book of Hebrews, chapter 10, verse 23. It says, let us hold fast to the profession of our faith without wavering, for he is faithful that promised. That's Yahweh by Shema Shai. It says in the NLT, let us hold tightly without wavering to the hope we affirm, for the Most High can be trusted to keep his promise. Verse 24 in the KJV, and let us consider one another to provoke unto love and to good works. In the NLT it says, let us think of ways to motivate one another to acts of love and good works. And how do you motivate one another? By being an example of that love and of those works and of those good works. Verse 25, not forsaking the assembly of ourselves together as the manner of some is, but exhorting one another so much the more as ye see the day approaching. In the NLT it says, and let us not neglect our meeting together as some people do, but encourage one another, especially now that the day of his return is drawing near. Right, because you have men that don't want to be a part of this. So they'll forsake meeting up, linking up, being amongst each other, doing the work, building that spiritual rapport, especially in the times that we're in, because there's going to come a time where we're not going to be able to assemble together like we do. We're not going to have the liberty to gather together without something happening. So we see that the time is now. We gotta show each other love, practice these good works, which is the law, statutes, and commandments towards one another. Being an example of a decent and brother, a charitable, loving brother towards one another, especially in the times that we're in. We can't be like these people that's in the world. These guys that's in the world with this false brotherhood that they have in the world. These fraternities, these groups of men, these gangs. Like, there's no honor amongst those guys. But there's honor amongst the brotherhood of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai that he created, of the first fruits. And so, again, this inspired me. This video inspired me to do this lesson. Pseudo brotherhood versus the spiritual brotherhood. And pseudo means fake. And these fraternities and these sororities, thus a fake brotherhood. These benevolent groups, they're a fake brotherhood. They're contingent on something. And these men, they do each other dirty all the time. But guess what? You're going to find the same thing in this truth. You're going to find men that have ulterior motives, men that are not sincere. You're going to find men that are sincere. Like Elder Yashawamba said, in this truth, you're going to find the best people in the world, but you also going to find some of the worst people in the world. And so you got to be able to discern that. Trust not every brother. So with that, I'll say shalom, on to the next.